Welcome to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, a space where we break free from tradition, creating a wedding day totally authentic to you and your love story. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you plan a wedding day that feels uniquely yours. Join me for planning tips and advice, endless inspiration, and a pocket full of calm within the chaos that is wedding planning. Consider me a trusted friend, here to walk you through it all. From injecting fun splashes of personality into your day, to reinventing tradition completely, all whilst focused on building a day bespoke to your dreams and desires. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. Now, I need to start off today and say that if you are watching on a visual medium, if you're on YouTube or trying to watch a video, there is no video for this section, this intro section today. There is video for the rest of the episode, just not the intro. I had a wonderful interview with the lovely Julie Hermann photography. We chatted all things wedding photography, creating a personal day, all those things. It was gorgeous. And I just went to sit down to edit and I was like, I haven't recorded an intro yet. So I'm doing it now. But I mean, I am not podcast ready today. I'm sat, I've got a cup of tea, I've got my big hoodie on because it's freezing outside. And yeah, I was not setting everything up to do the visual part today. So this is just the intro. I'm not going to ramble for too long. I want to get straight on into things. This was a really, really nice episode and I think you're going to love it. So enjoy all of those good things before you do, if you are enjoying the podcast. If you like listening to me ramble, if you like all of the tips and advice you are getting here, then please do go and give us a rating, a subscribe. Make sure you follow all of those things so that you can come back and listen every single Wednesday. I am so grateful for you. I cannot even explain. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy this episode with Julie Hermann. Amazing. So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I'm so excited to speak to you. It's been in the calendars for a little while, so I'm excited to have a little chat with you now.
Yeah.
Photography and weddings and all of that good stuff. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's going to be exciting. So I'll always start off and give my guest a little opportunity to give us a little introduction about you and who you are, what you do, and how you kind of got into the wedding space. And for you, obviously, particularly wedding photography. So yeah, give us your little pitch.
Absolutely. So my name's Julie. I am a wedding and family photographer. I have been a wedding photographer since 2019. If you hear a slight accent, that is coming from France. I am French and I moved to the UK 2.5 years ago for love. And I am a very, very big romantic, which is why I love my job as a wedding photographer. I've got into it by fluke a little bit. I was just doing photography as a hobby and one of my friends said, "Oh, could you photograph my wedding?" At first I said, absolutely not. I do not feel qualified to do that. But she was insisting a little bit and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. But because I'm a perfectionist, I did go all the way in, did a few workshops, got the education in, and a few years later, here we are. That's my main job. That's the way I earn my living, and I absolutely love it. So yeah.
I love every time that someone tells me their little story on how they got into weddings, because it's always so different, but for that same kind of passion and love. Like the second people come into the wedding industry and they fall so deeply in love with it and they're like, this is it, this is what I'm meant to do. And the fact that you obviously moved here for love as well is just it's like a movie. It's so nice.
Exactly. Honestly, it could be a Netflix rom-com. That would work
perfect
as well.
For you to be able to sell as well. You're like, listen,
absolutely.
I've done it myself.
Yeah, photographer of love through and through, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it helps to have that. I mean, you have to have that romantic side to you, don't you, to be in the wedding industry and to, particularly through photography, I guess, to be able to tell people's love stories and to do that through the pictures
Yeah.
and make things personal. So I wanted to start off a little bit talking about photography. Obviously in general is one of those things that it's a supplier that everybody's going to have, right? You don't really, sometimes you might, some people aren't fussed about capturing it, but 99.9% out of 100 people want a photographer. They want their day captured. And we talk a lot about
Yeah.
on this podcast making things personal, making things your own. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about wedding photography and how you can make that a really personal experience, and particularly with your couples and the way that you take photos.
Yeah, absolutely. Thing is, because I come from France and I started my career in France and I still do a lot of French weddings, I have a perspective on the industry that is a little bit different than the photographers here. In France, weddings are highly personalized, and it's great and I love it. And it kind of tainted the way I work. And I think because I love it that much, the way I am kind of like it kind of moved in response to one another, because I do agree, and we had that talk before. I do agree with you that it's very good when things are very personal to the couples. It shows a lot in the way I work. And in terms of photography, I do believe that you can make a difference by how you are on the day. That's one side of it, because the photographer is with you throughout the whole day, most of the
It's an
time,
important
from
supplier,
prep
isn't
to
it?
the party. Exactly. So the experience on the day can be different, but also the result at the end can be different. The way the photographer sees your event and captures your event will be different from one photographer to the other. And there are loads of photographers out there. Every couple will find the right photographer for them. There is no one way that's better than the other. I'm just going to talk about what I love doing and the kind of client I love working with and who loves working with me. So the way I am on the day and prior to the day is very, very personal, in the sense of I am not just another vendor. I take on a limited amount of my own weddings every year, purely because I want to be able to connect with each one of my couples. So that goes through a questionnaire, get to know them. I ask them a question about the organization of the day. Of course, we all do. But I also ask them questions about them. I ask them how they met. I ask them for a little story about them. I kind of get to know them a little bit. I also have a WhatsApp group with each one of my couples, and we chat during the year. And basically, my goal is to get to the wedding day and be like a friend for them, not just another vendor. I want them to feel comfortable with me, because you have to remember that the photographers, when they arrive, we have usually one or two big cameras, a harness. We barely blend in the background. Like, it's very obvious why we're here.
You know when your
And
photographer's
that
there,
can be
don't
a
you? They
little.
come kitted out.
Exactly. And you can't really expect the people in front of you to just feel comfortable in front of the cameras. Most of our couple getting married are not models, and that's not their job. So my goal on the day is to make them feel as comfortable as possible, because I want them to be as natural as possible. I want them to be themselves. I want them to have their genuine laughter. I want them to have their genuine, the way they hold hands, the way they have a little hug. I want that to be genuine. To achieve that, I need that connection with them. I need to be able to know how they interact. I know how, usually I know a little bit about how they banter because of that WhatsApp group. And thanks to this information I know about them, on the day, if I see that they're being a little bit, a little bit shy, a little bit not really comfortable, I can get them in their zone, because I know what to talk about with them to make them forget about the fact I'm taking photos. And that's something I really, really love. And yeah, that's one of the big elements of what I do to make it feel personal. Now, it is not for everyone. Some people might find it intrusive, and that's completely fine. It is
It's a
not for
bit too much.
everyone.
They're like, I don't want to tell you anything about me.
Yeah, and I respect that completely. And in that case, there are loads of other photographers out there that are the exact perfect fit for them. And I usually tell them when I have inquiries from couple, I usually organize a video call so we can talk about all that. And I tell them, if that doesn't feel like the right fit for you, it's fine. It's
Mm.
okay. Let me know, and I can maybe direct you to colleagues of mine who I know would be brilliant for what you're looking for. But I have no interest in just going with a couple who I know will not like the way I work. And vice versa. They have no interest in booking me if that's not what they want. Getting that personal way of working allows me also on the day to make things easier for them. And it is usually, I mean, we vibe on the day, and usually when I leave, by the time I leave, I get a good thank you and a big like, oh, it felt like you were a friend. So yeah, that's when I know I did my job right.
It's all you can ask for, I think, really, isn't it? Just that
Yeah.
they're happy at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. Your photographer is like the most important supplier, aside from everyone else helping to make sure the day goes smoothly. You spend all day with your photographer, all day. So it's not
Yeah,
just
you
about
have
what
to get along well.
exactly, yeah. It's not just about what style of photos do they do. Are they doing all of the candid documentary style? Are they doing the artsy style? Are they doing, it's not just about that. You have to have this connection. You have to like them as a person. They have to be someone that you want to spend time with because, yes, it might just be one day you have to spend with them, but it's a really
Yeah.
important day, and you can notice,
Yeah.
and you probably more than anyone, but the photographers particularly can notice in the pictures when someone's not comfortable and when they're not fully
Oh yeah,
relaxed, and
100%.
you can tell. And you're taking these pictures so you can hold on to them forever. So it's a really important thing to do, and I think having that initial conversation and really getting to understand who might I be booking, who might I be spending time with, is really important. So yeah, I think being upfront about that helps your couples, right? And you get to have the opportunity to say, listen, this is what I'm all about. Huge romantic. I want to, be a little bit up in your face and learn about you in the process. And yeah, who doesn't need an extra friend? Like it's nice, and I think that connection's really, really important.
Yeah, and I feel like who doesn't need an extra friend, but also an extra friend that knows about what's going on in the day, who can bring you the
Yeah.
reassurance that you need, who can, say the thing that will make you feel better on the moment.
Mm.
I mean, of course, like we haven't, I'm not filling in, as one of the closest and the family or
No, no.
whatever. But it's a case of like, I'm your sidekick on the day. I'm going to help you out. If you have a question, if you have a need, if you have like, I'm going to
Mm.
remind you to drink water. I had a wedding this summer where it was in France and it was quite warm. I think it was like 37 degrees or something. And I told the guys, all the groomsmen, they were ready. And I was like, right, so you are allowed, you do whatever you want, but I advise just one drink of alcohol before the ceremony because nerves and the heat will make it hit different. I
Mm.
I know. And also it was like, just drink water. Believe me, if you do not drink water by 6, you'll have a raging headache.
Yeah.
One of them didn't drink enough water,
Oh
and by
no.
6 p.m., he's like, I have a bit of a headache. I don't understand what's going on. And they were just behind me. I was doing group photos by then. And they were just behind me. And one of the other groomsmen was like, Did you drink enough water? Julie said you had to drink enough water. You
Did you
didn't. That's
listen?
why you have a headache. She did say.
It's so funny. I cannot tell you how many times I say to people, are you hydrated? Are you fed and well? Are you hydrated on the day? Like,
Yeah.
just to keep reminding people. And they're always like, yeah, yeah. It's really important to have that like sidekick on the day. And I often refer to myself as the same thing. It's like, we don't need to replace any of these important people, but we are like that perfect friend for hire that's like there to
Yeah,
connect with you,
exactly.
there to build trust, but also we're not that friend that is going to run off and you're not going to find them for half the day because we've had too many drinks, or we're just going to be worrying and panicking and over dramatizing everything. We're like the perfect friend on the day. We're like cool,
Yeah.
calm and
Yeah,
collected. We've got the advice and the knowledge and you can
exactly.
trust us. It is the perfect setup.
Absolutely. And that's one of the part of my job that I really like. And when I talk about this with the couples that I work with, I'm like, it might seem retrieved from photography, but having that kind of person that makes you feel calm, makes you feel like they've got, things handled and everything, will make you calmer, and that will show in the photos. So there is a connection there.
Exactly. It's, you know, you need to build a nice relationship and trust with all of your suppliers in a sense that you trust they're going to do a good job, but you're not spending the time with most of them. So it's okay if they're like, you don't need to be best friends with those, and you don't need to be best friends with your photographer, but you need, like you say, this a decent foundation for you to be like, I'm really excited to spend the day with you as a little threesome on the day. You're just walking around, taking your
Exactly.
pictures. Yeah. Like the little tag along that just is like, oh, pose here, do this. And yeah, it's a nice relationship. And I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
alongside that, it helps to make things more personal and feel more bespoke and feel more special, because you haven't just got someone that's like, oh, you look lovely, here's a picture. Oh, that's great, stand there, here's a picture. You've got someone being like, oh, you look really amazing like that, and let's stand here, and oh, I know that you love this, and I know that you'll feel more comfortable if maybe we take a picture like this. It's a different experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. And something that I've heard a lot, because I think that's a phrase most photographer hear, is, oh, but we're not comfortable in front of the camera. Yes, of course you're not. I'm not either. There's a reason why I'm in this side of the camera. But it's our job as photographers, in my opinion, to make people feel comfortable. And what I usually tell them, because especially for sessions, weddings is a bit different, but for example, pre-wedding shoots and stuff like that, couples come to us and they're like, oh, I'm not really looking forward to it because I'm a bit nervous and I don't really know what to do with my hands and what to do with my legs and how to stand. And all of a sudden, you're super self-conscious of your body and you don't really know what to do. What I usually tell them is, you'll see after the session, you'll have enjoyed the moment. You actually have had a good time. And it's the same thing for the couple photos during the wedding. And for the wedding, I'd say it's even more important, because the couple photos moment is the almost the only moment you'll have just with your partner, where it's just the two of you and your photographer, but where you won't have to socialize, you won't have to be, with your guests and everything. It's just your moment, just the two of you. And I like to make it a little event. I like to make it, a moment that not only will you have good photos of that moment, but you will also have good memories of that moment. And I remember I had one couple. They were absolutely lovely. Their wedding was beautiful. It was a Anglo-French wedding, so different cultures, everything that I love. And
Perfect mix.
come the moment, exactly, come the moment of the couple photos, they were nervous. Of course they were. And I was like, right, think fast. What can I do to make them feel a bit more comfortable? And I remember in their questionnaire, they mentioned how they love watching The Great British Bake Off. And I live in the UK. I watch The Great British Bake
Of
Off as
course we
well.
do.
Um, and I was like, oh, have you seen this episode? The Christmas episode where this happens and this happens. And all of a sudden they were just looking at each other, talking about, those memories that they have of watching The Great British Bake Off. And that was it. Like, they were in their own little bubble. I have those gorgeous photos of them interacting with each other in a very genuine way. And all nervousness just poof, gone. And I know that when they look back on those photos and they see themselves like laughing and having a good time, I know that they'll remember, oh, we were talking about that and we're having a good laugh, and it was not just like pretend like you're laughing or whatever. It was like a genuine moment of connection that they had for themselves on the wedding day. So yeah.
It's making memories as a couple in another way, isn't it? And you almost have to
Yeah.
like re-break the ice between the couple on the day, because they've never been in this situation before, and they're like,
Yes.
how do we act around each other now? Like, we've had this big thing, like we're married, and now we've got this big day, and there's so much pressure, and it's finally here, and like they're like, oh, what do we do? And now there's a camera here, and you have to like re-break that barrier that they've kind of built around themselves. And yeah, I think when you do, and you can see that in those pictures, it's so beautiful, like a really, really nice moment to capture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it reminds me of like that's a privilege that videographer have, but
Mm,
videographers when they mic up the groom and when the bride and groom walk down the aisle on the way back and they exit the
yeah.
ceremony before the guest and the mic is still on and you can hear what they say. And you've got so many TikToks going around,
Yeah.
of like you can hear what they say and it's always
And they're
super
like, oh my
cute because
God,
it's like,
yeah, we're
oh my
married. Oh
God,
my God. Yeah. Or like, oh,
what
did
do
you
we do
see
now?
this? Or did you hear that? Where do we go? And it's like,
Exactly.
it's so innocent and pure and just intimate to
Exactly.
hear those
Yes.
moments of
Yeah.
just complete bewilderment when they're like, oh my gosh, this is the
Mm.
first time they've spoken to each other since they've got married and now they're alone. And I love those. They are so beautiful. Yeah, it's a real privilege
Yeah.
to kind of get to see a sneak peek into those moments, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think, I talk a lot about making things personal, but also about traditions and kind of breaking those traditions. So I'd love
Mm.
to chat with you a bit about photography and perhaps the way that traditions are changing that you're noticing in photography, or the way that people are kind of bending those traditions to make things feel more like them and to make things feel more personal. Is that something you're noticing or kind of experiencing a little bit?
Well, it is. I'm in a position that is a bit in between because I started working weddings in France, and I
Mm,
still work a lot of weddings in France. Most of my weddings are still in France. I second shoot a lot in the UK, so I have the experience of both. And they are very different. The traditions are different.
mm,
The timings are different. Like it's quite interesting. I didn't expect it to be that different, to be fair. The French wedding industry is already a bit more personal than the UK wedding industry, purely because of how the legalities around it are.
mm,
The first element is in France, if you want to get married, no matter religious or whatever, you always have to go to City Hall. Always. Registrar don't go out of City Hall, you have to go to them.
mm. Interesting.
Um, and yeah, and civil ceremonies are not like the UK where you have a little bit of romance, you can have a reading or whatever. No, in France, it's the law. It's very unromantic, very much paperwork like. So there is an element in France for people where they do have to think prior to getting married. What's the reason we're getting married? What are we expecting from our wedding ceremony? Um, and again, there is no good or wrong answer here. You have some couples who will do it for religious reason, and they will get married in church, and or in whatever temple or place of faith that they belong to. And in that case, you still have to go to City Hall. So the question is, do you do that the same day? Do you do that another day? That depends on the couples. If you're getting married for the actual legalities of it, just doing a civil ceremony is enough. And then you can have your reception at the venue. It brings another layer of restriction because you can only get married in the city hall of the city or town you live in, or of in the city or town your parents live in.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
um, yeah, so it kind of limits the amount of venues you can go to if for you the main important bit is the city hall.
Mm.
Now, if you're a romantic like me, and if what matters for you is more this symbolism, if it's more the promise of love and stuff, you might want to do a humanist celebration, a humanist ceremony. And that is quite common in France, and that you can do at venues. Venues are not licensed in France. That is not a thing. So, because of those different elements to start with, there is already an element of personalization right then and there. Um, and because you don't have that question of being licensed as a venue, usually not all venues, but a lot of venues come as dry hire, and you don't have a
Mm,
staff there. So usually your vendors will be a wedding planner if you have one. It will be the florist. It will be the photographer, the caterer, and all of that. But what that means is that from the get go, we have quite a bit of DIY weddings. When there is not a wedding stylist, usually the bridegroom their guest, their not their guest, but their wedding party will do loads of the decorations themselves, but sometimes alongside the florist. So you do have that kind of personality in there already. And for the day itself, because there's no, there's no mandatory things to do. It's basically you're renting that beautiful place for the weekend. You do whatever you want. So all the inspirations that you see are ingrained here and there during the day. And I've seen, especially in humanist ceremonies, I've seen gorgeous stuff, loads of personality put in there. And I think one of the most beautiful one I've seen that really moved me was a wedding this year. They walked down the aisle, they sat down, and they had prepared a recording for the beginning of the ceremony where it was like they were sending voice notes to each other, and it was retracing their whole love story from the moment they met to today. And it was just beautiful to see how they reacted to their own recording. Of course it was make believe, it was like prepared for the wedding, it wasn't actual voice notes from the beginning of their story.
It was curated for
But
their
it was
special day. Yeah,
exactly. And it was beautiful to see them relieve their whole story, take a moment to appreciate what they had gone through and the different steps of their relationships. And also, you could see their guests exchanging looks, having like tearing up, laughing. Oh my God, I was behind my camera, I was trying to capture it all, and I was tearing up myself because it was so beautiful. That's something that's not traditional. That was the first time I've ever saw it. I ever saw it, but it was so well done, and it was so them, and it was just filled in with a little bit of the banter that they have, filled in with the pet names that they give each other. It was filled with the good and the bad, and it was just my heart. Love that.
I tell you what, I would have been an absolute mess. I cry at every single wedding, and I'm like, be professional, Abby, pull yourself together. But when you see something that's just that beautiful, I'm like, I mean, I did a first look. Like the father and brother did a first look at a wedding I did recently. I had to walk away. I was like, my God, it's like I'm working. I'm supposed to be professional. But it was just as soon as you see people like in their emotions and feels on the day, it's so beautiful. And what an incredible way to bring in the personality and to make things feel like them. And I think as well, the day
Yeah.
goes so quick, and it's so kind of, it just whizzes past you. It's really easy to not be present in those moments. And I think getting to relive your own story as told by you is a perfect way to bring yourself back into that moment. And I really love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another one that I saw and that I really loved as well. I was not the photographer on this one. Just to say, I'm the same. I cry at weddings. The good thing is I'm hidden behind my camera so no one
I'm
sees
not.
it.
I'm just there trying to tell people where to
So
go.
I'm
Like,
fine.
come on. Yeah, you
With
can
a
definitely
tear
hide.
streaking down.
Yeah, like I'm a real professional. Ignore me. Don't worry, it's fine. I just love love. I love it
Exactly.
so much.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, definitely. So that wedding, I was a guest at this wedding, if I'm honest. So I was like experiencing it in another way. But it was this gorgeous couple who they had during their ceremony a time capsule. They made a time capsule. So basically, they had all the guests kind of writing notes to them, like wishes of happiness and whatever we wanted to write down. But they also, during the ceremony, took lots of little objects, a lot of little mementos of their love story to put in the time capsule, and they explained. And it was a bilingual wedding as well, so they explained. The bride explained in one language and the groom in another language, and it was all the little, like the the concert ticket of the first concert they went to see together, the photo they took when he just proposed, the cork of a bottle of champagne, of, whatever happened that is celebrated. And it was all those little, oh my God, I
I
mean,
just got
everyone was
goosebumps. I
tearing
just,
up.
oh, I love that.
Exactly.
How
That's
special.
definitely something. Yeah, and that's something I definitely love about humanists' ceremonies, is that whatever is important for you, whatever makes sense for you, no
Mm,
matter what it is, you can do it. You
yeah,
can instill it like in your ceremony and make it make sense. And I find it just so beautiful. And that is definitely something I love. And that goes very well with the way I work, because I have those information. I know, I have those informations prior, and I can take the photos of that as well. It works with other things as well, like religious ceremony works as well. In the sense of, I have couples who tell me, I don't know, like, this part of the ceremony is very important for us because this and this and this and this. But it's the fact that it's done with intention. You have to be intentional
mm,
with the decisions you make about your wedding, is the best way I have to phrase it. Sure, there is tradition, but if you decide to follow tradition, it is completely fine, as long as you do it with intention and as long as it
exactly.
makes sense for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, because there's no point otherwise. And it's like you say, you can feel that energy. If it's not right
Mm.
for you, you don't want to do it. And if you're just doing it because your nan's asked you to do it or because you think you should do it,
Yeah,
there's an energy there that sticks and you're like, it doesn't feel right. Whereas when you can
exactly.
do those personal things and be like, this is amazing and this feels right for us. And actually, we don't really want to, walk down the aisle separately. We want to walk down together, or maybe we don't want to do the cake. We want to do something different. When you're choosing things and making decisions based on what feels right for you, there's a different energy there. And like you say, intention's the perfect word for it, because
Mm.
it's an important day. If you haven't got intention behind the decisions you're making, then there's not really much point.
Yeah, and I would say as well, you can go with tradition, but with a twist. That works
Mm,
as well.
yeah, adjust it.
I know that. So, yeah, something that happens a lot in France, and I have noticed that is not really a thing in the UK, is the bouquet toss.
Mm,
I haven't seen it yet at a UK wedding. I feel like I don't know, it's not something that is
I
done
think it's
regularly
died out
here.
a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's something that just, I don't know if it feels, I haven't been here long enough to know if it fizzled out. It's just not a
I
thing.
haven't seen many.
But
No, I think it's
there you go.
diffused. It's faded. Yeah.
Yeah, but in France, it's definitely still a thing. And sometimes I ask my couples, do you want to do a bouquet toss? And I've had some people say, oh no, we just don't want to, like, I don't know. I've had people say, that bouquet is expensive, I do not want to throw it, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand. But then I've had people say, oh yeah, I want to do something with the bouquet, but I don't really know what to do. And I've had so many different things around it. This year I've had an escape game during drinks reception, during the moment I took the couple to do couple pictures and stuff. The guests had There was a vendor that created an escape game around the bouquet is somewhere and you have to find it, like the
I love
lost bride,
that.
the lost bouquet. That was amazing. That kept the guests busy and it was entertaining and everyone loved that. I had one time where the bouquet was in a glass box with a little locket on it, and the guests were like, they had to pick a key in a bag that was full of different keys, and it was like very King Arthur's, like, in sense of trying to open the lock
Who's the chosen
with the key
one?
that they randomly picked. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was very fun.
I love
Everyone loved
that.
it. It was a very original way to do it. I've had couples that was like, oh, I don't want to throw the bouquet, but the groom being like, you know what, I'm going to have a bottle of alcohol or a beer, and
Yeah, I've
I
seen
will
that.
have all the dudes just running towards the. That's great.
Yeah,
I've had grooms sending their shoe.
love that.
Why, I don't know,
I mean, it
but
works for them.
know,
Yeah.
it works for them. I've had one thing that is quite classic, and classic change from the bouquet toss in France is the ribbon game, where basically you've got the bride holding the bouquet. The bouquet is linked with loads of little silk
Mm.
ribbons, and the people participating in the game are holding one ribbon and turning like in around the bride or the groom, or both sometimes around the couple. And basically, one of them is cutting the different ribbons, and the last ribbon standing is getting the bouquet. So it's just all that to say that if you're doing something because it's tradition and you're not enjoying it, not only is it like a bit of a shame because it's your wedding day and you should enjoy every second of it, but
Yeah.
also will show on the photos. So when I have a couple that says like, "Oh, everyone wants us to do something with a bouquet, but we don't really want to," I'm trying to find something with them that will spark joy for them, so that on
Mm.
those photos I have this, the laughter that, oh my god, actually that was a good idea. We're having fun, and yeah, and at the end of the day, in their gallery, the photos tell a story, and I
Yeah.
can't make the story for them. Like, I can't take photos of things that weren't there. It is in my interest, it is in my best interest to make sure that they have the best day possible as well.
I really love the way you phrased that, yeah, you're not the storyteller, you're just capturing what's going on. So you
Mm,
have to do things that feel right for you. And I think it's choosing things that spark that joy and that feel
yeah.
like it ignites that excitement in you when you think about it. If someone said to me,
Mm,
"Oh, do you want to do a bouquet toss at your wedding?" That doesn't spark anything for me personally. I'd be like, "No." But if someone said to me, "Do you want to
mm,
turn it into an escape game?" I'd be like, "Absolutely, let's do that," because how much fun and how much excitement, and it's one of
mm,
those wow factor moments on the day that people are going to keep talking about.
mm,
And the photos that you'll get of guests just like bickering and fighting and like laughing over, trying to figure this out, that would excite me. And that would be like, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds fun. So it's finding the things I say to anyone and everyone I talk to that's planning a wedding: do you want to keep the tradition the same? Do you want to adjust it to suit you? Or do you just want to get rid of it? Like, the options are there. You don't just have to
yeah.
take it at face value. Choose something that feels right for you. And
Mm,
I really love that idea. Like, a simple bouquet toss has been turned into a dozen different things there that people have done. There's not
exactly.
there's not one way to tell the story.
Exactly. And I think ultimately, I think people need to be reminded that it is their day. And I think it is easy. I mean, I'm engaged as well. I'm in the midst of
You
planning my own
are.
wedding. I
Yes, it's
am,
so
yeah,
exciting.
I'm,
Congratulations.
thank you. But yeah, I'm discovering it as well. I'm discovering how daunting it is to organize your own wedding, how
Mm,
much things that come into play. And it is very easy to forget in the midst of all this organization, the those things, those bits of creativity
yeah.
to make the day your own, because you want people to have a good time. And sometimes I always tell my couple, you have to remember that you're the guests of honor. You're not the
Yes.
host
Yes.
on that day. You are not the host. And it's very easy to forget because obviously you booked all those vendors, you make sure that everyone is fed, you make sure that everyone has a good time, and it is very easy to forget that actually those are the little things, those personality touch that will make the experience unforgettable for you.
The day is
And
for you, isn't it?
yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's for you, it's about your love, it's about celebrating it. And you should do it your way, and you should do what things that spark joy for you. I mean, obviously, because that's my philosophy about weddings. I'm trying to, when we talk about it with my fiance, I'm trying to remind myself of that, and not being just like, oh, but what if people don't like this, or what if my guests don't?
Yeah.
No, that's what do we want for us.
Yeah.
And for example, we're not dance floor people. We don't go dancing that much. And I was like, you know what? Because we don't drink either. We don't drink alcohol. And I was like, actually, what if we didn't have a dance floor? What if instead of a dance floor, we had just, after dinner, a little, cozying night,
I love
just
that.
everyone can play games. And actually, from then, we decided, oh, hang on, we could do a pub quiz. And
Oh,
especially because half of us like will be French and half of us will be British. We'll be like, we could even do the against the Brits, and make it into,
Yes.
you know,
That is
a
so
proper
fun.
game. And everyone, I like, you could think, oh, but my guests will expect some dancing and all of that. Yeah, but if that's not what I want,
It's not for them.
and
There's plenty of
actually,
other weddings they can go and dance at. Do you know what I mean? They are a
exactly,
guest. So what a privilege to be invited to your wedding and to do
exactly.
something different. I love that.
Exactly. And actually, everyone of my family and friends, I told that about, like, I told them about it, and every one of them said, "Oh, that's brilliant. That's amazing."
It
I was
is
like,
amazing.
"Okay."
Done. And exactly, it's so perfect for you because like you say, I mean, I'm quite similar. I don't drink. I'm not like I'll get up on the dance floor, but I'm always like, oh, I'm not going to be the first one up there. Like I'll join in, but it's
Yeah.
not like the top thing. So I completely get it. If you're thinking actually the last thing we want to do is be up on the dance floor all night, we'd rather make memories with
Mm.
people laughing and have a bit of fun competition and yeah, just
Yeah.
soak in those memories a bit more in a way that suits us. I just think that's perfect. I love that.
So it's all a case of making the effort, which again I understand and I completely feel it. It can be difficult for couples in the midst of organizing all of it, but it's a case of like taking the time to sit down and really think, why are we getting married?
Mm.
What do we want on the day? And what would spark joy for us? And yeah, ultimately that gives us the best moment for them, the best memories, and the best photos. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's too often just a checklist that people are being asked to tick, whether it's
Yeah.
traditions or whether it's anything for a wedding. It's like, okay, have you booked your food? Have you booked your DJ? Have you bought your dress? Have you got your shoes? Have you done this? Have you done that? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And I completely understand it from someone planning their wedding. They're like, just give me something simple to tick off and say yes or no. But the
Mm.
magic doesn't come from those moments. The magic comes from digging a bit deeper and finding that creativity to be like, actually, yeah, a pub quiz sounds perfect. Actually, yeah, hiding our bouquet in a glass box with keys sounds perfect for us. It's choosing something that suits you a bit better. Do you think now that you're engaged and planning a wedding, has it changed your perspective a bit on that process, or is there anything you've been like, oh, I get it now from the other side of the planning?
I think I understand a bit more the time sometimes that couples take to get back uh,
Mm,
to us vendors,
that's
because obviously,
interesting.
obviously for us when we get an inquiry, we're like, oh my god, yes, amazing and
Yeah.
everything, and we send our information and stuff like that, and then there's just silence on the other hand, and you're a
You're
bit like,
like, anything?
okay,
Are you going to book me?
just like, yeah, and you feel like you've got ghosted or something. But
Yeah, it's horrible,
being on
isn't
the
it?
other side made me realize, yeah, that actually when you're in the process of pricing things up and in the process of trying to decide, like, your plan is forever moving until you've booked your vendors, and it's a case of like sometimes you thought about something but then you change your mind. What I always do, and that's from the vendor's perspective, is I always get back to the vendors I contacted to say, like, look, the plan has changed or something, but I understand better the time that you can get to, like, if they don't come back to us for 1 week, 2 weeks, but actually they have their whole life going on around them. They
Mm,
have loads of reason for not getting back to us. So I have a bit more grace towards it. Like, I'm a
that's
bit
really
more
interesting.
patient, I think.
Yeah, I find that
Yeah.
I mean, you do naturally fall into that as a business owner, don't you? You're like, okay, well, I've sent over my information and now I'm waiting to hear back from them and I'll
Mm.
check in a few days and then maybe you don't hear back again and you're thinking, oh, well, that's not going to go through and I'm gutted because we had such a nice conversation. I'd love to work
Yeah.
with them. But sometimes, a lot of the time, I'll find a couple of weeks later, people are like, hey, I'm ready to book now. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, okay, great. Like you didn't ghost me. So yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. From the other side of things, the couple are just trying to work things out, aren't they?
Uh, yeah, it's the roller coaster of
Mm,
actually, like, you're like, oh my god, they haven't got back to me. That means that they're not interesting, or yada yada yada. And actually, they might just struggle to find the moment to talk about it amongst themselves because life
yeah.
happens. So yeah.
No, I love that. I would love to go back a little bit more now and talk about, when we were talking about the French weddings and everything like that. I'd love to talk a little bit
Mm.
more about the differences between that and making things personal. Obviously, you said a lot of, or most of French venues, is that right, a dry hire, which I find really interesting because I feel
Yeah.
like you really struggle to get a good dry hire venue in the UK.
Yeah, I think the thing in the UK, again, it's I'm talking about what I know. I'm not,
Mm.
I'm not an absolute expert that has seen it all. Absolutely not. But from my perspective, from my end of the market, from the weddings I've had the chance to attend and to see things, I think it comes from the fact that there are not licensed wedding venues. Because obviously, if you're a licensed wedding venue, you have to accommodate for the registrar coming to you, and like it all becomes a little bit more official, so you can't really just let the place to
Leave it to do
your
their own thing,
couples.
yeah.
Exactly, like it has to, because there is that element of officialness. You have to kind of make sure everything happens the right way. I think good dry hires in the UK, like I'm thinking of Urich Manor, for example. I saw on their website that you can't hire them without a wedding planner,
Mm,
um, which in a way makes sense, but it's basically, I think it is, you will have very good ones, but it's very high end. Like you don't really have mid-budget ones,
yeah.
or you probably have, but I don't know them.
I find there's just not as many. And I guess just for anyone listening that doesn't know the term dry hire, when we say dry hire, we mean that you are essentially just hiring a space. You are hiring a venue. So you don't get that package deal where you get the staff included and your tables and chairs and all of those things. So for the most part in the UK, there are a lot of wedding venues that sell you a package. They sell you, this is how much you pay and you get the space for this many days, and we will do all of these things for you. When you get dry hire, you might be hiring an empty barn or, an empty warehouse or something. So you don't have the staff, you don't have all of those things. And I do love a dry hire venue. I guess from a planner's perspective, I always say it's more fun for me because there's more bits to kind of dig deeper into and make it a bit more personal. But I find that really interesting that that's more the case over in France, because I guess if you're restricted a bit more with the legalities and you have to go to City Hall to do the things, then you get to run riot with the freedom in the venue and go as personal as you like.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Usually in France, you get a venue from it could be from the Friday to the Sunday evening or Monday morning, which allows you to set up. Because obviously on the day, you're not going to set up on the day,
No,
or if you
please don't
are,
do that.
just kudos to you.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Utmost respect. Yeah. But most of the time, my couples that are setting everything up, decorating the place the day before. So you've got that whole level of personalization. You've got that whole, on the decoration side, they have their, I guess to an extent, it's like a marquee wedding in the UK. You
Yeah.
know,
You get to choose everything, don't you? You're
where
choosing the tables, you're choosing the chairs, you're choosing
exactly.
the cutlery. Like you don't choose that at a licensed venue.
Exactly. So it's definitely that bit that comes into play. Obviously, you'll have vendors to help you out. Usually, it would be for example, for the reception area, you'd have the caterer telling you. Some will put the tables up for you. Some will not. Some will just ask you to put the flowers in the middle or whatever you want in the middle, the signage and stuff. But they will take care of the plates and everything. So that's all things that you discuss with your other vendors. But all in all, because it's not regimented too much, it is to an extent, don't get me wrong. Like the photographers will tell you, well, we need to do those photos at this time because otherwise the light will not be good. You'll
Mm.
have caterers telling you, well, we need to have a timing just to make sure that we can get, the food ready and warm to your guests to eat. So there is obviously an element of, weddings are still weddings, and there are big moments that make it weddings. During a wedding, you're always going to have a getting ready part because you're going to get ready for it.
Yeah.
Always going to have a ceremony part because that's kind of why you're here. Um,
You need to do that.
there's always Exactly. There's always going to be food because you can't have a lot of people and not feed and water them. I don't know if
Mm.
water is the right term, but
Fed
you
and
have
watered,
to
I use that a
feed them
lot.
and
Yeah.
give them drinks. Exactly. So there is that element of those are your must during the day.
Mm.
But other than that, during French weddings, I've seen, because you don't have those mandatory steps, mandatory things that need to happen. It's very much laid back. Loads of things can happen. Same goes for the ceremony. If it's a humanist led ceremony, I've seen some that last 30 minutes. I've seen some that last an hour and a half. Usually, you've got lots of speeches during humanist ceremonies. You'll have sometimes the parents, sometimes the siblings, sometimes the bridesmaids, groomsmen. You've got loads of different people just taking the opportunity to say something to the couple. You sometimes have different kind of symbolic moments, but again, that's the couple's choice. And you've got so many things that exist. You have the ring warming amongst the
Mm.
guests. You've got the sand where you mix the sand. You've got ribbons that you can tie around the wrists of the couple. You can have an exchange of rings. Like whatever feels good on the moment for the couples, they can make it happen. And after that, you weddings reception, the timings are not the same in France. It's usually everything is a bit later. Usually you start like the wedding breakfast, which is not breakfast at that point,
No.
is usually around 8,
Oh wow.
8
Okay.
or 8:30. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite late, and dance floor doesn't start until 11:30 most of the time.
Interesting.
So you've got, yeah, it's very late. Ceremony is later as well, to be fair. Like it's not 1 p.m. ceremony, it's way
Mm.
later. Um, but all that to say, usually during dinner, you've got loads of things happening. Sure, people are eating, but in between courses, you'll have a game going on. That's usually everything happening on that point onwards is a surprise for the couple. It's usually family and friends doing things for them. Sometimes you have a slideshow of photos of them when they were kids. Sometimes you have like their friends making a whole production video of, I don't know, the story of the couple, or basically it's just a bubble of creativity
I love
of
that.
things happening, games that like one thing that is quite classic that I've seen a lot is him or her kind of game where
Mm-hmm.
the couple is sat like back to back, and they have a little sign that says him on one side, her on the other side, and there is someone, a sort of MC, that gives questions like who, I don't know, who snores the most, and they have to, without knowing what the other one says, they have to decide. That's quite a common game that happens in France. So you have all those different things
Mm.
that again brings a little bit of personality, a little bit of character, and makes it a little bit different from one wedding to another. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's
loads of difference
interesting.
between the two industries.
Yeah, and I guess none of this is to say that you can't do that at a UK wedding or at a licensed venue or any of those things. I think
Mm,
it's, what you're saying is just it's more common over there. There is that more personal touches. You're not just ticking off a list and as much as this is no shade to venues, but I say it quite a lot, you'll often go there and do a site visit or have a wander around and they say, oh, well, the cake goes here and the stage goes here and this is where we put your guest book. And it's very much like, well, this is what we normally do.
mm,
So that's how it goes. Whereas I like to go in and be like, okay, well, what if it didn't go there? What if it went over here? And what if it looked different to that? How can we not just tick a box and not just do what's been done before? So I think adding in those little pockets of creativity and changing things up a bit is a really fun thing to prioritize. And I love that. So what would you say is something that is like top of the list for French weddings? Would you say that they prioritize? Is it like the food? Is it the music? Is it, I feel like over here it's very much like we want great food and a good party at the end of it.
yeah. Um, it is. I think it's very dependent on the couple. I've had, because I usually ask them, "What's the most important thing for you for your wedding?" Because I want to
Mm.
know. Because it's going to change the way I handle the day as well.
Yeah.
So a quick side note for it is that, as I said, French venue don't come with a staff. That also means that if there is no wedding planner, no one's here to coordinate the day.
Yeah.
Well, no one. Usually the photographer ends up
Yeah.
coordinating a little bit,
I hear this a
purely
lot, and it
because
makes
we are
me
there
sad
all day.
because you're already doing so much,
Absolutely.
and that people just don't get it, do they? I'm always like, please get yourself a coordinator, get someone. You can't have no staff.
Yeah, well, it for the way I've seen it in France is when there is a coordinator, it's for me, I can focus more on the photos and I
Yeah.
can, but I think the only case you can afford maybe not to have a coordinator is if you have a wedding party that knows what they're doing
Yeah.
and that, are happy to take on the task. And it's not really often the case. It's
They
a
want to
lot to put on
relax
their
as
shoulders as
well.
well.
Yeah, they want to enjoy the
Exactly.
day. They
It's a
want to
lot to put
celebrate with
on there.
you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say because you don't have a venue coordinator, if you don't have a wedding vendor coordinator, for me, knowing what part of the day is important for you will allow me on the day to make sure that
Mhm.
this gets priority. Because otherwise, it's very easy to get, just like the day is happening more than you have control over the day.
It runs away with itself, doesn't
I've
it?
had this exactly, and I've had this example that I think is a very good example of a wedding where I asked the couples, "What's your favorite part? What are you looking forward to the most?" And they said the cocktail hour, like drinks reception. We really want to take the time there to mingle with our guests, to have like a little bit of time with everyone. It's really what's most important for us. Okay, good to know. Now, for a reason that no one could foresee, their humanist ceremonies, it was not too bad, but their humanist ceremony started an hour late. So
Quite
that
late.
means that everything ran late because of that.
Mm.
So the ceremony started. I took photos of the ceremonies, and I had in the back of my head, right, we have two options here. Either we cut the drinks reception short, or we start dinner an hour later. So at the end of the ceremony, we didn't catch up time, obviously. Don't
You
catch up
can't at
time
that
on
point, can you?
ceremony.
An hour late is, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so at the end of ceremony, we did the confetti shots and, people came to congratulate them, everything. And I, you know, give it a bit of time. And as soon as, I felt that they were available for me to go to speak to them before entering the drinks reception, I went to them and I was like, look, as you know, it's not a surprise we're an hour late. Um, what do you want? Do you want to push your dinner back, or do you want to keep the drinks reception short and have dinner at the time that was agreed on? And they said, no, we would really like to keep the drinks reception as it was, like 2 hours long drinks reception, because that's, I mean, we told you that's the bit that is the most important for us. And I was like, okay, say no more. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm
I'll get it done.
handling. Exactly. I'll get it done. And the drinks reception was handled by another vendor. So I went in the kitchen, found the number of the caterer, gave them a call, and said, look, we're an hour late. I'm so sorry. Would you mind coming an hour later? And he said, yeah, of course, no problem. That's all good. Ultimately, all the vendors are here to make sure that the couple has the best possible day. So that's what we did. And the
I
couple at
love
the end of
that.
the day were really happy because what was important for them had been respected. So, to answer your previous question, I think it really depends on the couple. I don't, obviously, food and drinks are very important in France because,
Of
the cuisine
course. Yeah, of
has
course.
quite, it is important for us. I'm not going to lie, that the stereotype is true. But I will say it varies from couple to couple.
Yeah.
Some couple will be very much focused on the connection. Some will be more about the photos because they want something very editorial. Yeah, there's no rule, I think. And to be fair, and to kind of come back as well on something that you said earlier about how wedding venues kind of say like, oh, this is where the cake goes and this is,
Mhm.
all of that. I think it's very easy for us as vendors, and even us. I mean, I'm guilty of that sometimes. As much as I love personality, as much as I love having something that is, all the time a little bit different, because we're so used to seeing weddings, it's
Yeah.
sometimes very easy to fall into the trap of saying like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's like, usually this is how it happens. And sometimes when I'm having a discovery call with a client and I'm telling them how like the wedding is likely to happen, I have to remind myself to keep telling them like, what I'm saying is classic wedding.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want and I will adapt. It's just for you to have a rough idea.
Yeah.
But if you're not like if you're not giving this precision to the couple, they might be like, they might not think that they can do anything differently because we're used to it. We know what can and can't be done. They don't.
And we're the
So
experts, aren't we? We're telling them.
yeah,
They're coming to us to hire us and say, "What do we do?" And we're there to tell them. So I think it's
absolutely.
it's something I catch myself in all the time to say to people, "Oh, well, normally we'll do this, normally we'll do that, normally we'll do this, but
Mm,
you can change it if you want to." And it's not to say that if you did just
yeah,
tick the boxes and put the cake and the stage and the tables where they normally go, you won't have an amazing day. You will, but there's this extra level of, oh no, that was even better if you do decide to switch things up and do
mm,
things differently. So yeah, no, I completely get that. It's a trap that's easy to fall into. And I've said before, I get it from a venue's perspective,
yeah,
particularly a venue that's pumping out lots of weddings. It's so easy for them to be
mm,
like, "Yep, we put this here, we put this here, we put this here," because it helps them to ensure that the day goes smoothly. But it's also okay
yeah,
to just flip that on
yeah,
its head a bit and say, actually, I'm going to change things up this time, and we're going to do the cake outside instead. We're not even
absolutely,
having it inside. So
absolutely.
the options are there, aren't they?
I think, yeah, and I think all in all, it's circling back to what I was saying before and what we agreed on. It's all about intention
Mm.
because, for example, all photographers will say to their couples, "Oh, we need to do couple photos at cocktail hour." Yes, I mean, our golden hour is the best light that we can have, but at the same point, some couples might have different ideas for different reasons,
Mm.
and having that window open to let them know like, yes, sure, we would recommend golden hour because that's where we're going to have the best light, but ultimately it's your decision, makes sometimes creativity pop up. I had a couple this year, they were all about having golden hour photos. That was not a problem. And especially in France, because we have dinner way later,
Yeah,
we can
perfect timing for
usually
it.
link that. Yes, usually I link that with your guests are entering, like going to find their seat for dinner. You're not needed because you're not entering the reception area at the same time. So whilst your guests are getting seated, I'm taking you away to get a couple of photos. And that's usually roughly at golden hour. So that's something good about French timings.
Works very well.
But at the same point, that couple said that they wanted to do a few photos the main in the main chateau. So you quite often chateaus in France are you've got the main chateaus where you have rooms and stuff, and then you have an orangery style place for the dinner, and they wanted to do photos in the chateau, but that's also where the owner lives.
Yes.
So the owner said, you can do photos in the chateau, but just do them around this time. And I was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. No problem at all. Like, you have something in mind, you have a vision. I'm going to make sure that we can make a vision like, I'm going to make sure that we can make your vision happen. That's why I'm
Yeah.
here for. So yeah, there are the advice that we can give to couple of the habit that we have because we do so many weddings.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is on us as well to remind them that actually this is the classic layout, and you are free to just change it all.
Do whatever you want. It's everything's up for
Yeah.
negotiation, isn't it? And
Mm.
it can be fun that way. I think there's some couples that if they're not fussed about seeing each other for the first time as they walk down the aisle, Maybe they've had breakfast together in the morning. Maybe they've even got ready together. Maybe they're actually saying, could you just do our
Mhm.
couples photos before the ceremony? Because actually, after that's done, we just want to spend the whole day with our guests. And that's perfectly fine. You
Yeah.
just switch it up and you get it done sooner. Or some people, when you get those really good, like moody evening shots where they've gone to like a gorgeous room in this house and they're just like sat with a glass
Mm.
of champagne or a cocktail and the lighting's really dark and it's perfect to do it later in the day. Then it depends what vibe you're going for, so always ask your suppliers. And
Mm.
I think that's why it's important to choose suppliers that you feel comfortable asking to
Mm.
change things up. If you book a photographer that you don't feel like you can ask them to do it any differently, you've probably booked the wrong one because you should be able
Yes,
to talk to them and
definitely.
say, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, again, there is a vendor for every couple. That
yeah,
there is no debating that. And there are things that if a couple ask me, I'll be like, I'm not the right person for it. It's
yeah,
not like, it's completely fine, but I'm not the right person for it, and that's okay. And I'm trying to think of what I don't have an example coming to mind right
that's
now.
okay.
Um, but on the other hand, some couples will be, I don't know, very traditional, very they don't want to move the traditions and they have good reason for
Yeah,
that. I don't know. They might want a wedding that reminds them of, I don't know, some member of family that did it the exact same way and that the way they want to carry on the tradition and everything.
yeah,
Um, and that's okay. And if you don't want a wedding vendor that is giving you loads of inspiration to do things differently, you will find a photographer or a wedding planner or a venue that will, cater to that very strict tradition. There
you
is
just have
there
to
is
have the
so
conversation,
many.
don't you?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why those initial
absolutely. And
calls are
that's
so
why,
important.
exactly, like the way I see it, I could not book a client without having that initial conversation. For a whole wedding, it's a case of like, let's see if we are the right fit. Let's
Yeah,
see if you like my vibe. If you don't, that's fine. There's plenty of other clients out
yeah,
there that will be very happy to work with me, and there is plenty of other photographers out there that will be absolutely delighted to go with your vision and to do the things you want to do, and that will be more in tune with how you are. There's I think, yeah, you have to, as much as it feels like, ticking a list of,
yeah,
vendors to find and stuff, finding the right vendors is an essential step to make sure that your day is going to be the best possible. Let's not forget, it's a huge amount of money to spend on one
yeah. I was just
day.
going to say
I
it's a big
am,
investment.
yeah, it's a big investment, and I know it's a lot. If it is too much, have a wedding planner.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But don't. The best advice I could give is don't book vendors just to strike another item of your list.
yeah,
If it is too much, get some help. But it is too much of an investment to just tick things off your list and then be like, after the day, just regretting and thinking, oh, if I had known, I would have done that differently. Or
yeah.
like, yeah,
You don't want wedding regrets. It's the worst. It's
yeah.
nobody wants that. Just, yeah, and pace yourself. This is why it's like, don't rush into decisions, have the conversations. And it doesn't need to be that intense. Like, when you found a supplier that's good for you, like there will just be green flags all around. You won't have any reservations. The price within
Mm.
reason won't matter at that point because you'll just be so like,
Mm.
this is the person we need to book, that yeah, I'm sold. So have the conversations and just talk things through. I think that's, yeah, the best
And
kind of advice for that.
ask the questions. I'd say ask the questions. If you have a question in mind, ask it. If you
Yeah.
have an idea, if you have an inspiration, share it.
Yeah.
Because it is very easy for us to, sure, give inspiration, but we're not in your head. We can't guess what you're thinking and what
No,
you
you've
really
got to give us
want.
something to work with.
Yeah, so communication is very, very important. And if you need reassurance on some things, it's better to ask the question than booking with, a little bit of reservation in your head.
Mm,
And as for photographers, I know that personally, I share full galleries with the couple I have had a chat with, a video call with. because there is the personality that's like a good, I'd say, 60% at least
Yeah.
of the part of why you should book with a photographer, at least. But then there is obviously the result, because that's why you book us, that's to have the photos.
Yeah.
And you have to feel confident that the person you're booking will have an outcome that you'll be happy with. And that goes with seeing how they handle different lights scenarios, how they handle different color. Some weddings are, I don't know, I've had weddings where the color palette was more on the cool tones, on the blues and those kind of vibes. And I had all the other weddings where the colors were more terracotta and green, and that's going to look different. So there's that. There is the weather, of course.
Yeah.
You also have something, for example, something that I don't show much is candids. I love doing candids. I absolutely have a lot of fun taking candidates, having that very specific moment where you've got two guests cheering and having like a grin on their face,
Mm.
having that guest having a good laugh at someone's joke. Um, I love taking photos of them. I do not share them all that much, purely because as much as the couple has agreed for me to share their photos, that person, that guest, it is written in my contract that it is the couple's responsibility to let me know if someone doesn't want their photo shared on socials or my website or whatever. But I still feel always a little bit uncomfortable sharing too much of the guests, because they haven't
Yeah.
had, they don't think on the wedding day to come to me and say, look, I don't want my photo to be on socials, which
Yeah.
I would respect. Like, that's completely fine. But because of that, I don't show them much. Whereas I know that my candidates, like, I usually have a stupid grin on my face when I'm editing the candidates, because I can see the joy in people's face and I absolutely love it. So having those full galleries is important to see how your photographer is handling the different moments, the different types of photos, how they do candidates, how they do group shots, how they do getting ready shots, how they do details. The way we do details, the flat lays, are very different from one photographer to another. I personally am very type A. My flat lays are very
Very
square.
organized.
They're very like I very organized. I love the lines. They're very not strict, because it's always like, it's flowers and it's invites and it's rings, so it's not strict, but it's very organized. And I have a friend of mine who I love dearly, and her flat lays are chaotic in the best possible way. It's
I
all
love
like
that.
they mesh all together. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I would be absolutely lost if I had to do that, because I do not know how to do that. It would take me so much time to try and nail the way she just mesh
The
everything
perfect
together.
imperfection.
So
Yeah.
exactly, and it's that kind of thing where when you choose your photographer, you have to have a whole panel of what they're capable of. It's kind
Yeah.
of like you wouldn't book a caterer without having tested, or a cake without having tasted the cake. Well, that's the same. You do cake tasting, go see a full gallery.
Yeah, and ask the photographer those questions. They should be willing to give that to
Yeah.
you. And I think, if you don't ask the questions, you're not going to know. And any good supplier, photographer or otherwise, is going to be more than happy to answer 1,000 questions from you if it means that you're
Mhm.
feeling trust and comfortable and happy with that
Yeah.
booking, over someone that's not asked any questions, books you, and isn't actually, they don't really want to be there. Like, I'd rather you, like,
Yeah.
it's not nagging, it's not bothering me, as long as you're being polite. To ask as many questions as you like.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
ask as many questions as you like, because it's an important decision for you. And if you have something that I can help to ease your mind on, please let me. So yeah, 100%. Ask your photographers all
Mm,
the questions. Would my color palette work with you? I haven't seen many of it on your website.
mm.
How would it work if we wanted a picture like this? How does the process work like this? Can I see your galleries? I ask the questions. It's really important.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, as wedding vendors, we want you to walk out of your day being super happy and being
Yeah.
like very happy with your vendors as well. I have a friend of mine who told me like a couple of days ago, she just recently got married, and she just said something about her wedding vendors, and I was like, oh. She said, like, oh my God, the wedding vendors team, they were all so good. I mean, I'd die for them. And I was like,
It's just the
oh.
best feeling, isn't it? When you're at a wedding day and someone's like, this has been amazing. I couldn't have done this without you. Like, and it's a nice little ego boost on the day just to be like, I'm so
Yeah.
glad that it was worth it for you. Not even just that it makes me feel
Mm.
good, but I'm glad that it was worth you having me here, because that's all that we can ask for, is that you feel like you've had an amazing day.
Absolutely. And I think when you speak to wedding vendors, you can see we are all passionate about what we do. We are all very, I mean, you can probably hear it.
We just smile the whole
With the
way through
both
the
of us, we're
episode.
like,
Yeah.
ah.
Just love it.
um, exactly. Like there is passion there. There is, we love what we do. And how much of a privilege is it that what we do for a living is to make people happy or witness and capture the happiness of people, in my case.
Mm.
Like I take photos of people in love and happy for a living.
It's
Like,
amazing, isn't it? Some
what
days
is
I
there
just
not to
sit
love,
there and
you
I'm like,
know?
how is this my job? Like, I just love it so
Yeah.
much. It's so good.
Exactly. So in the end, it's definitely worth, because we're passionate, because we love what we do, and because all we want is for our couples to be happy and to have the best possible day and the best possible photos. Of course we're going to have that, that happiness to answer your questions, that happiness to make
Yeah.
it exactly what you want. And if it's not possible, that's fine. We'll nudge you towards the way that is more appropriate for you. Like,
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I imagine, Abby, that in your case, if you have a couple saying, like, oh, I want this and this and this, and I want this venue, and you know from experience that, I don't know, with this venue or this caterer or this, I don't know, this florist, or that's not what they do,
Yeah.
you might be able to be like, what is more important for you? Is it the vendors or is it the vision? Because there can be mismatch between vendors
Exactly.
and
Yeah. And I always want to,
yeah.
as much as I'm always encouraging my couples to book suppliers that feel right for them and find their team of people, if there was, things coming across that I was like, I really don't think this is going to match the vibe. Obviously, I'm never going to kick up a fuss and be like, oh, I've worked with a supplier and not so keen on them. I'm never going to be that kind of person. But if I've had a terrible experience with
No, of
someone and I
course.
know that's going to ruin their day, then I'm going to be like, listen, I think we should keep looking, or I think this might work better for you, because it's our job
Mm.
to help build like a really good day for them. So you adjust along the way, don't you? And you kind of read the room a bit and be like, I'm going to make an educated suggestion here, because we just want you to have the most amazing day ever. And that's the most important thing. So we love what we do. We love it a lot.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you see some horror stories on social
You do.
sometimes, and
I think it scares a
like,
lot of couples,
I know
doesn't it?
that, yes, and the thing is, it is preventable if you have this communication. I think the main thing to take out from this is have a clear idea of what you want, communicate with your partner about what you want,
Yeah.
but also communicate with the vendors, because you've had things that we hear in the photographic, well, the wedding world, like you've
Yeah.
had the sepia bride gate
Yes. Oh
about
my
a
God.
bride that was not happy. Yeah, a bride that was not happy with the edit of her photos, which, that's preventable. If you see the work of the photographers prior, if you ask the right question, this is preventable. You
100%.
had a Yeah, you had a bride as well who like just got makeup on and just removed all her makeup
Yes.
just
Yeah.
before to redo it herself just before going down the aisle. For vendors, that's heartbreaking, because you sometimes haven't even seen on the day that
Yeah.
what you did was not what they wanted because it hasn't been communicated well, or sometimes it's a mismatch. And that's like, no one's ending up happy about this, because
No.
the bride is not happy because she has to redo her whole makeup, and the makeup artist is not happy because she's like probably thinking, oh my god, like, because we're passionate, we're probably like, oh my god, what did I do wrong, what did I not
Yeah.
see,
And all
so
we want is for our couples to have a
communication.
good time. Yeah, it's really important.
Mm.
Communicate, ask the questions. that's all we can ask of people. So yeah, and hopefully then
Yeah.
people end up having an amazing day. But I would love to quickly touch on, before we kind of round things up, we'd mentioned before the episode when we were talking about the new potential wedding law changes.
Mm.
I would love to chat a little bit about how this might change photography and how it might, allow people to have a little bit more freedom on the day.
Well, I think for me, it kind of, for several reasons, it sparks my interest. I think the first reason, and the thing my mind instantly goes to, because I'm a bit of an introvert and I'm a bit of a lover of, intimate things and
Mm,
romantic things, I'm thinking elopements, you know.
yes.
I'm thinking of what they do in Scotland, for example, because in Scotland, the registrar are allowed to go
Yes.
kind of
Anywhere.
wherever. So my first thought when I heard about this was like, ooh, elopements.
We're going to have some really cool
Like,
backdrops for elopements, aren't we?
exactly. Like, I'm thinking just like, those spectacular wedding photos and, yeah. So I think that could be really good. For those who might not know what an elopement is, I don't know if everyone knows, but it's basically usually just a couple going to get married, just the two of them with an officiant, and sometimes well, if it's a legal ceremony, you still have to have witnesses, but your witnesses can be your photographer or one of the celebrant, or like there
Yeah.
are legalities for that, but yeah, and usually that's done in very spectacular backdrops, and like you could do that on a cliff in Cornwall, you could do that
Yeah.
I don't know, in the Peak District, or like, just nature.
And it could potentially be
So
a
my
legal ceremony, right?
Yes,
Yeah, which you
absolutely.
can't do at the moment, which would be very
Yeah,
exciting.
you can do it in Scotland, but that's pretty much it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where my first thought went as a photographer. The second one was, if you can do that, then you can do. It's probably going to loosen up a little bit the rules in a way, and
Hmm.
you might be able to get celebrations a little bit more personal,
Yeah.
a little bit more like how it is in France, and like bring a little bit of that personality over to the UK. How it will look like, I have no idea. But I imagine that it will be. I imagine that, for example, people who have marquee weddings, it might be easier for them to
Yeah.
organize a ceremony where they're having their marquee weddings.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to have a backyard wedding, probably in, I don't know, the big family house that you might have, that could be
Yeah.
possible.
And it could be
Um,
legal, which I think is the big thing, isn't it?
mm,
Because at the moment, if you want to have a wedding
yeah,
in your parents' backyard, you still have to go and do that legal ceremony. You still have to then go and book
yeah,
to get that
a
done.
registry
And
office, or
yeah, and
yeah,
some people are like, I don't want to do both. Like we'll just have the registrar one,
yes,
fine. So but they're not getting the ceremony that they feel like they want. So I think being able to have a bit more freedom
exactly.
in where you do it, particularly for pictures wise, could just be
Mm.
magic. So I
And
think it's
how?
exciting. Yet
Yeah.
how it goes down, what the structure of the day is, it could
Mm.
change so much.
I think it could, yes, and I imagine that would shake things up a little bit as well. I don't imagine that's gonna, and I hope it doesn't hurt the venues, because obviously, like, venues are gorgeous in the UK.
Mm,
I'm saying that, like, don't get me wrong, I see a lot of chateaus in France and that
yeah.
are gorgeous. One thing the UK and the UK venues do really well is having a plan B for rain.
Yes, we have to. We have to.
Exactly. The French don't do plan B for rain really well. Like,
No.
some venues will have organized it, but sometimes it feels a little bit like, yeah, that's plan B for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be prepared for everything in the UK.
And it shows. So I really hope that, that kind of thing doesn't hurt the venues, because I do believe venues are absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I imagine that it would kind of loosen things up a little bit and introduce a bit more personality, a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more personalization
Yeah.
into weddings and kind of push couple to really think about what they want the ceremony to be like. Why are they getting married? What are they envisioning?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, a wedding's no
hopefully.
longer just about, obviously, the legal part's important because people want to be often legally married. But I think we're very much more in a place of that's not the sole purpose anymore. Like, people want a day
Mm,
where they can just make amazing memories and celebrate their love. It's not
mm.
just about the legal thing. So I think having that freedom could be a really, really fun thing. So yeah, watch this space, I guess.
Yes.
We will
So
see what
stay tuned. We'll
happens.
see what it, yeah, we'll
Exactly.
see what happens.
Well, as we kind of close up, I will ask the question that I ask all of my guests, which is regarding
Mm.
wedding traditions and wedding rules. If there was one wedding tradition or rule that you could just get rid of forever, what would it be? Could be anything.
Um, I think there's one that is very UK based. So it at least it's not the case in France, and it's about the speeches.
Go on.
um, I kind of dislike the fact that it's all well. The tradition is that it's only men talking.
Yes, not a
The
fan.
fact that it's Yeah, the fact that it's the father of the bride and the groom and the best man. I was a bit confused at first. I was a
Do
bit
they? Is
like,
that just a here thing then? How weird.
uh, why?
Yeah.
And I've seen a few, don't get me wrong, I've seen a few weddings where the maid of honor have a speech. I've seen a few
Yeah.
weddings where the bride have a little bit of something, or the mother of the couple, the bride or the groom. But it's like when there is that tradition and it's just the men talking, I'm a bit like,
Yeah,
why?
no, I'm
You
the
know?
same. It's lovely still, but I'm
Um,
like, surely there's someone that wants to say something.
yeah, I mean that might be the feminist in me. You know, like I imagine that could be the case, but
No, I'm completely with you there.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It doesn't always
I
sit
think it
right, does
should
it?
be, yeah, I think it should be like, it doesn't mean to say that women should just be the only one talking at all. It's just a case
Mm,
of, there should be a both because it's both of their day. It's kind of like having, those weddings where I don't really agree with those weddings where you have like a bride's wedding featuring groom's name. No, it's the
yeah.
couple's day,
It's
you
your day
know?
together. It's kind
Um,
of a funny play on things if you're making one comment, but some people have fully centered their day around it's the bride's day and the
yeah.
groom's just here. And I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah, that's a bit sad, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there is a middle ground to be found there. So, I think that would be one. And the other one I really don't understand. And again, that's something that is from the UK, and that might be just, cultural difference. But it's the fact that most of the time the cake doesn't get eaten.
Yes.
I don't
It's
understand
ridiculous. I know I've
that.
talked about this before and I'm like, why aren't people eating the cake? I've been to weddings where the day before they've had a wedding at the venue and we've gone into the back to store something, flowers or something, and the venue have gone, oh yeah,
Mm,
sorry. Yeah, just ignore that. The cake's from yesterday. They didn't touch it. And no one's come to pick it up. No one's eaten it. And I'm like, that's an expensive cake. Like, that's just
yeah.
absurd.
Yeah, I don't get it because usually what happens in France is you do have a cut the cake moment, which we usually make it like, I don't know, we make it very spectacular. That's probably the sassiness of the French. I don't
Yeah.
know, but we make it
You want it to be a moment.
obnoxiously. Yeah, it is definitely an event. Like you've got sparklers, you've got music, you've got like, yeah,
Oh,
it's usually a moment. But so Brian Group will cut the cake, and after that, the caterer takes the cake, cut the cake, and that's the dessert.
yeah. Yeah, which
Or
makes
if they
sense because
don't
you've
want to
spent,
have exactly, if they don't want to have the cake as the dessert, they just don't have a cake and they have a dessert served like in plates.
yeah.
But if you have a cake, the caterer will come up, cut the cake, and serve it to the guests.
Yeah, which I mean, I love cake. So make the most of it, eat it, get it used. Particularly when people have often done a cake tasting, gone through all this effort, the cake maker's
Mm,
gone and made it, and then it's not getting used or appreciated in the way it should. I find wild, absolutely wild. So yeah, eat the cake,
yeah.
people.
Like enjoy your cake. Or if you're not, like, I don't know, take it home, freeze it, have it every year, like as an
Yeah.
anniversary thing. I don't know, do something with the cake.
Share it out, leave it in little goodie bags for people to take home as little gifts, and
Yeah,
for an on the way home little hangover treat. Just eat the cake, please.
just yeah. Because, like, when I'm editing photos from weddings and I see the cake, and I'm just like, most of them are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
Honestly, kudos to the vendors making the cakes. They are
I
usually just like
know.
so
I could
beautiful.
never.
And then, yeah, and then I look at that cake I took a gorgeous photo of, and I'm like, "Ah, I wish I could have had a bite."
I know. All the weddings when the cake gets cut and they're like, please have some. I'm like, I'm there. I'll be first in line. If it wasn't professional for me to
Yes,
be up
like,
first,
yes, please.
I will be there. Yeah,
To be
definitely the
fair,
cake.
that's so I'll probably finish on this is so I met my partner at a wedding. I was like, that's just how we met. Nothing obviously
Yeah.
happened on the day. I was working.
Being a
But
professional.
exactly. But I told you, Netflix rom-com kind of level
You're living the
love
dream,
story.
Julie.
This just, yeah, yes, I am. And like 3 years later, I'm just still over the moon and not believing how lucky I
Oh,
got. But that's beside the point. But definitely, on that wedding, it was a couple, the two brides, and they were absolutely lovely. And things ran late, despite our best effort to make things run on time. And I was done with my day, and cake hadn't been served yet. And they were like, "Okay, Julie, you take your stuff, you take your cameras, you put them away, but please stay for the cake. Just have some cake before you go." And I'm
yeah.
like, "Okay, you don't have to ask me twice.
I will be
I
there.
have a sweet tooth, so."
Yeah. And you need that after a long day as well.
Yes,
A
yes,
little
you
pick
do.
me up. Yeah, a bit of sugar to just get you feeling human again.
And then especially, it was an Anglo-French wedding in France, so you have to bear in mind the cake was served. I think it was midnight already, so
Really.
yes, it was late. I
Yeah.
needed the pick me up before the
She needed
hour
it by
drive
that
that I
point.
had to do. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. But thank you so much for joining us today on the
Oh, thank you
podcast.
for having me. It was
Can
lovely.
you can you let us all know before you do? I'll leave it all in the show notes anyway, but let people know how they can find you and how they could get in touch to work with you.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, TikTok, and all the socials, it's at Julie Hermann Photography. Hermann is HERMANN. And I have my website, juliehermannphotography.com. And I shoot weddings and family photos, but weddings I shoot both in the UK and all over Europe, as I'm a French citizen, so I have the right visa and insurance to work all over Europe. So yeah.
She's global. You can find her find her all over Europe.
Absolutely. I've done a few nice ones. I've done Italy,
I
I've
love
done
that.
Finland. Yeah,
I've
love to
not done
travel, so
any
go for it.
destination weddings yet, but I would love to. Would love to. And France sounds like a wonderful place to do them. So if anybody wants a French planner, then I don't know French, but I can learn it.
I'll keep that in mind if I have a couple of British, because I have a few British couple
You
hitting me up because they're getting married in
let me
France. So
know.
if
I'll
I
get on
have one that need a
Duolingo, get my
planner,
French up to scratch.
absolutely go for it.
Amazing. Well, I will leave all of your links in the show notes. And thank you so much again for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And yeah, this was great.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and excited to create your dream wedding day and those lasting memories. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'll be back next Wednesday with more tips, advice, and inspiration. In the meantime, don't be a stranger. Come and find me on Instagram and TikTok at Your Wedding Unlimited, where I share even more wedding ideas and behind-the-scenes insights. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube at Your Wedding Unlimited. And if you're looking for even more support, come and join my private Facebook group, Your Wedding Unlimited. It's an amazing community of fun and authentic engaged couples, packed with extra tips, advice, and insights to guide you along your journey. If you have any questions or need more info, you can DM me or send me an email at yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. All links and details will be in the show notes. Until next time, happy planning!